Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack. Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
For the final time in 2025, Brian Twining and I are in to talk all things championship race with practice and qualifying in the books. Brian, we started this adventure back in February. We had some ups, we had some downs, we had some great weeks, we had some terrible weeks. But it's championship week. You are live in Phoenix. You were at the track yesterday, today, and day before. Were you there Thursday?
I was there Thursday for
Friday,
media day too. Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, you got to see the Xfinity race live and in color. Shouts to Jesse Love. That was an impressive performance. His car was fast. He got around Zilich, and there was no way anybody was going to catch him. I thought maybe Almirola was going to make things weird at the end, but I figured if he made it weird, it was because he wrecked Zilich, and then the field had to reshuffle. It was a fun race. It looked like there was some good stuff. It looked like the fans were enjoying it. So any Xfinity takeaways before we dive into Cup?
Yeah, I mean the best car on this night won the race. People can say what they're going to say about Connor Zilich not winning the championship after winning, double-digit times this season, but on this particular night, Jesse Love had the best car, and it was not really close when it came down to it in those final 2/3 of the race. And it was really interesting too, because when we went green, despite Jesse Love being the best in practice, he was the worst in the first stage amongst the championship 4 guys, losing numerous spots, finishing outside the top 10 in stage 1. And as he said in the post-race interview on pit road or on the track after winning the race, they put the magic wrenches to it and found what they needed to. And all of a sudden that car came alive, and it was an impressive drive by him to go up there, defeat his best friend too, which added another element of drama there at the end. So yeah, it was a really good race, and I expect more of the same in the cup race.
Yeah. Xfinity really delivered this year. It'll be interesting to see with some of the departures and additions and all that good stuff. Obviously, Heim time came through once again in the trucks. Trucks really feels like there's a handful of guys every year that are like the option and no one else. And obviously, Heim was.
Well, and it's also I feel like trucks is also very equipment based. I mean, you can say that in all 3 series where it's the big name teams that always bring the best stuff. But in trucks in particular, there always seems to be one truck that season that is just so OP compared to the field. And
it's got a lot of F1 vibes to it, where it's when Red Bull or Mercedes or McLaren this year is just the truck, and especially when you have a Corey Heim, it's easy to dump money into it. If you are newer here, make sure you click subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,500. If you have been riding with us all season, thank you for sticking through. Make sure you smash that like button. We'll ask you to leave some comments too, who's going to win, all that good stuff. But Brian Twining, it's go time. Let's talk a little DraftKings. We'll build some lineups. We'll also go through your notes. I have one question. Do we have a sporty driver of the week?
There is no sporty driver of the week. And honestly, there wasn't very many takeaways for me from practice in general, just with how sporadic the runs were because of all the tire failures and the yellows. And it was kind of difficult to get a good gauge of the guys that we weren't already paying close attention to. And as far as who we thought were going to be the players amongst the non-playoff guys, and of course the championship 4 guys. And look, there's no sporty driver of the week, but Ty Gibbs and Austin Cindric yet again looked good in in the day before preparation or 2 days before preparation. It comes to no shock to anybody, but Can they put it together on a Sunday is still the question.
They cannot. They've proven over and over that they cannot, just like the University of Miami and Mario Cristobal.
Oh,
When it matters most, they just cannot put it together.
yeah.
Let's talk through it because it's very interesting, very compelling, as we talked about earlier in the week. I think this is a very open race in terms of who can win. The champion may not win the race, and that may not matter, but let's start with 10K and above. So we obviously have Denny Hamlin puts it on the pole. The stars seem to be aligning for the 11 team. We'll see if he is all aboard or not. Kyle Larson starting third, 11.5. Byron, his teammate, starting second, 11K. Ryan Blaney, 10.7. Chase Briscoe beefed it, still 12th. I don't know what to make of him. And then Chris Bell and Joseph Logano. So I guess let's start here. Hamlin, Larson, Byron, Blaney. Do you have a car among that group that really stands out for you? And if not, kind of, I guess, talk me through your process of how you expect those kind of four to run.
Of those four guys, I think you have to try to look at this from a blimp point of view and remove the championship factor from it. And doing that, it's Ryan Blaney. I mean, if Ryan Blaney was in the championship race this week, there's no question he would be the favorite.
Yeah,
he went out there. He looked like probably the best car in practice early on, before we had all those weird yellows, and he was fairly solid. He seemed confident after practice. The goal, I asked him today during the driver bullpen, like, what the goal is it still to go out there and win the race, and he said, of course, like. That's what we want to do all the time. It sucks that they're not in the championship, so they still want to go out there and win and, do it despite them not being in the championship. So for me, it's Blaney. You get a major discount on him this week with the other three championship guys priced so high. Yeah. And, Briscoe, I think he's going to be strong, but it's pretty clear each series is going to have that one guy that isn't quite close to the being a championship car. And last year we saw it in Cup with Tyler Reddick. He was good, but he wasn't close to the other three guys. And I think that might be the 19 this year.
Yeah. It sure feels that way. And it sucks because I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to attack this week with basically my only exposure to the 19 who seems dead in the water already. And as much as I give Hamlin shit, he's been so good. He's so damn good at going and stealing it. And obviously we know how good HMS can be. Larson could win the whole race. We've seen Byron lead multiple 100 laps and win races and be the car. Like, just Briscoe to be here, to be in the mix, has had an amazing season. But yeah, it does feel like this is kind of where things fall apart. And maybe we'll be sitting there and he'll have a Jesse Love race and things will figure out in stage 2. And then all of a sudden he's a factor at the end. We've seen him do that time and time again. He's awesome on pit road, but going into the week, I have concerns.
Now, I do want to add on Briscoe. He did say today in the post-qualifying press conference that he did kind of like give up a little bit on his qualifying lap. And so there was probably more for him to get there. And we've seen that from him earlier this season a couple of times where he felt like he had more to give on his lap. So I do think he's a little bit quicker than what his qualifying results said, especially when you consider that Toyota in general, outside of Denny Hamlin, who is like in another stratosphere right now, Toyota has actually brought fairly slow single lap speed today in qualifying. So the fact that he is 12th, I think should still present some optimism there, because once we get to the race, with him being so far back and him being the longest shot, they can afford to maybe take some swings at this and maybe hit the strategy call correctly, or just take advantage of how good their pit crew has been.
Yeah, no, I like the sound of that. I think Blaney's obviously very compelling. I think Byron's also really compelling. Yeah, just because we've seen he's awesome here. When he wins, he can be, or even if he's second, he can lead hundreds of laps. I was looking, he had two races where he led over 200, another one where he led 300. So like, and we saw how dominant he was at Martinsville last week. Like obviously, he's got it at different tracks, at different track types. He's can be really good here. He's won here.
I'm
So
glad you. I'm glad you brought up the fact that how dominant he was at Martinsville, because also in that post qualifying championship 4 driver press conference, somebody asked if they knew like what engines they brought this week, and of course the Toyota guys they couldn't have brought last week's because they both wrecked. But Kyle Larson knew they got Chase Elliott's engine from Martinsville. And it sure sounds like William Byron. He said he was told what they brought.
yeah.
But one would think if Kyle Larson got
Wink,
Elliott's
nudge,
Martinsville,
can't really tell you, but I can tell you, kind of thing.
yeah. So one would think that they're bringing the same engine from last week that helped him be the most dominant car at Martinsville here to Phoenix.
Yeah. I'm curious to see with Elliott's engine going in, because Elliott's really good at Martinsville. Like, obviously his car was good because he was able to put it where he needed to, almost got it there at the end, but Elliott's really good there. So maybe I'm curious to see how good that engine is relative to what we saw from Byron. Chris Bell.
He's going to be good.
He's going to be good.
Denny Hamlin. Okay, so Denny Hamlin even mentioned this, saying qualifying here, especially with the newer tire that's going to wear more, does not mean that guys, and he specifically said that somebody starting as far back as 20th can still make a run and get to the front. Like, there's no coincidence. He's talking about the guy who's been the best car at this track each of the last 2 springs and probably would have been co-favorites with Blaney had he been here at the same time as the 12. So Christopher Bell is going to be strong.
Yeah, and Denny probably hopes that's the case too, because he's going to be up front battling with Hendrick and Blaney, and he's going to be trying to win a championship. So he's going to want some help up there to try and navigate everything. Yep. I think he's going to be really, really compelling. And what do we do with Logano? Starting 10th, we know how good he can be when he's in the Champ 4, but when he's not, he's kind of...
So Logano, to me, he's really good here at Phoenix, but a lot of that is skewed towards the championship races that he's actually participating in. Because when he's not, he's probably like an 8th to 12th place car.
Yeah.
And so I'm not as optimistic on him as I think a lot of people were heading into the week. I think where he qualified is probably right where you can expect him to run. Albeit if the opportunity presents itself, the 22 team is going to swing for the fences and try to still win the race. But
for sure. But yeah, no, I think 7th to 12th seems like the about what you should expect. Obviously, take two, especially with no championship to lose, they could take 2 tires, they can stay out, they can try a few different things that might ruin their day. But the potential downside, or like kind of whatever day from Logano, seems like the most easy outcome. So he's probably an easy avoid. Let's talk the 9Ks. And actually, I'll dip into the 8 because there's like kind of 6 guys. But I think this is an interesting group of potential. So Elliott starting 17th, Reddick 24th, Chastain 13th, Barry 7th, Kyle Busch 11th, and Chris Buescher 9th. I was looking at Reddick, and I spoiler alert for our newsletter, I like him for DraftKings, but I also wonder, he's not in the Champ 4, and in his November races has not been good outside of the year that he was a part of the championship 4. He was actually really good here in the spring, but that's common for him. But he had a power steering issue, and then ended up pitting and got trapped on a caution and basically ended up finishing 20th. But our guy iFantasy Race was pointing out in his asterisk report that he was a much better car. He was a top 5 car most of the day, and probably should have finished up there if the kind of unfortunate series of events didn't ruin his day. He's had such an up and down year. I could see him, if things go poorly early, kind of just riding around and ending the season. But he is interesting to me, and I do think of the non-playoff drivers, he has potential to make a push and be interesting towards the end of the race. Not
I
into
love
it.
our guy Tyler Reddick, but
We got one more chance to back him.
there are just so many other options this week from a DFS perspective that are starting a little bit further back than what you would have expected, or they looked better in practice than what they qualified. And Reddick, you have to pay up for a result that I don't know is there from the 45 camp as they close out the season. So it's a little more difficult to get there for me.
Do you prefer Elliott and Chastain, the guys kind of sandwiching him in that range?
Honestly, I'm not so high on Chase this week. I mean, Phoenix, I wouldn't call this a place where he pops generally. Chastain, however, I do think is someone to consider with him starting where he is. We've seen him win this race before. Ad nauseum, he's the only non-championship 4 guy to win the championship race. Is he going to do it again? Highly doubtful. But if he's mixing it up inside the top 5 late, or we get a late race restart, and you see the statistics, he's the best restarter in the Cup Series. Chastain battling up front towards the end of the race, it would not surprise me.
Yeah, and he's one of the few guys that when you go toe-to-toe with a Larson, a Byron, a Blaney, I think he's definitely willing to make it happen and has shown the ability to do so in the past. So
and that's what I was going to add too, is like he does not give 2 shits about ruffling feathers to win a race, you know.
Barry Busher, any interest in any of those guys?
Zero interest in Kyle Busch. Martin Truex Jr. pulled it here last year, and there was a ton of optimism, like, oh, he's going to go out in the sunset, and we all saw what happened there. Kyle Busch qualifies 11th, and people might think, oh man, he's going to be no, he's going backwards.
I want to fade him so bad. I want to fade him so bad.
Yeah, he's going backwards. Now, contrary to that belief, I do think that Josh Berry and Chris Buescher are 2 very compelling drivers here, because they're starting far enough up where a lot of people aren't going to want to roster them. Yeah. But they do have the track history, or the history on this track type, like a Josh Berry, to indicate like they could have strong days. And from what I saw in practice, which a lot of the data is kind of skewed because of the weirdness and the just when the cautions fell and how guys were running and the strategies of the guys. I mean, they got 3 sets of tires, so each run was probably set with a different goal for each team. And from what I saw late in the practice session, when we did get our longest run, Chris Buescher, for instance, was posting very competitive lap times, and we know Josh Berry is going to be strong on this track type. I mean, qualifying 7th, I think that's a good indication. Like, he's going to have speed here.
Yeah, and I also wonder if like the non-playoff Penske driver, or not Penske, Hendrick and Joe Gibbs cars were running tests for the guys that are in the Champ 4 and trying to figure stuff out. So taking the Elliott or the Bell numbers, for example, with a little grain of salt, just to see what they're testing. I think that's a good call. Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece. The 2 RFK cars could make some sense. Yeah. Good luck with Austin Cindric if you want to go that route, I guess.
No.
Kez, Preece, or Wallace interesting to you? I assume Bowman, especially from a DFS perspective, is probably a no-go.
Yeah. I think Bowman, kind of in the same light as like a Tyler Reddick, albeit he's starting way further ahead. He's just like a no-go in any regard, I guess, DFS or betting, just simply because of we haven't seen the consistency from this team, and especially with Bowman being, the 4th teammate at HMS with 2 of his teammates in the championship race. Who knows what's going to happen during the day, where maybe they need him to try something out to see if it's going to be applicable to the end of the race, and then that kind of like screws his day. Whereas Ryan Preece, I loved him coming into the week. He's a short track guy. He's been good this year. He looked good in practice, very solid in practice. And where he qualified is not shocking. And again, going back to what Denny said, guys starting around 11th or 20th. I mean, Priest is starting one spot behind Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
He could be another guy who, on the long run with these tires, can be able to work his way through the front or to the front, throughout the day.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to pick your brain about as we kind of go through this is the time of the race is adjusted from last year. Usually it's a little later in the day. Do you think that matters at all? Do you think that impacts the race at all?
I don't think the time of the day matters. I do think the fact that it's going to be close to 90 degrees will probably play an effect on the slickness of the track. That said, we've seen this so many times before. Like, tires will wear in practice, and then during the race, they don't do shit. So it's hard to prognosticate, the type of racing we're going to see, because every team is going to make an adjustment based on how they think the track is going to turn and all that stuff. So
yeah. Do you have interest in Bubba? Obviously, you could argue he's been the better 2311 car all year long. You're getting a discount on him from Tyler Reddick. He's starting 23rd, right? Same area. Like, is he more compelling to you, or is he another guy that you're just like, I don't need to squeeze that. I'm good.
But 100%. This goes back to the strategy that we were playing a few weeks ago with the RFK guys, for instance. Like, if you thought that Brad Keselowski was going to be good, then you got to dip lower and play Ryan Preece, because it's just the way they were going to unload there, and their cars are going to be similar. Same thing here. It totally applies. Tyler Reddick, he's priced almost $2,000 more, but he's only starting one spot further back. And Bubba Wallace, for the most part, has been the better driver this year. So why pay up for a similar car?
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. Okay, let's talk 68. Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar, Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, Zane Smith, Mi Amigos, Final Ride and Trackhouse, McDriver, and SV Jesus. We got some movers, we got some shakers, we got some mid-pack guys. No interest in Ty Gibbs, right?
Zero.
Okay. McDriver, he might be
McDriver. McDriver and SVG are going to probably be amongst the two most popular guys. The speed metrics or the practice numbers are not going to say, oh, SVG was good, but I'm sorry. The data that I was looking at when I was watching lap by lap times, Shane Van Gisbergen on the long run, this dude is good at preserving his tires. And we've seen this play out over the last few weeks and over the last few ovals, where SVG is just getting better and better and better at this track type. And despite him qualifying where he did here, if he can avoid a mistake early that puts him a lap down, I do think that by making up a few spots early on in the race, this is a guy that could surprise again and close out the year with another strong finish, like a top 15, or, if stuff plays out right, even a top 10, if he doesn't have an issue late. Like, the guy is just so good at tracks where braking and tire preservation is important. And this is another place like that I think that SVG could excel at.
Yeah, and he's clearly improving. Like, he was 14th at Martinsville. If we get another performance like that out of him, he could be really good. Obviously, Talladega is its own animal, but he finished 11th there. He was 10th at Kansas. Like, he's put together some solid. He was 14th at Richmond. Like, he's put together.
I'm glad you brought up Richmond, because again, 14th at Richmond, shorter, flatter track. But then when you go back to the most comparable track that people have been talking about this week, Loudon, early on in that race, SVG was ripping the top. Yep. He was like at the end of runs, he was like the third or fourth fastest car. Yep. And so the same could happen here. Like, it would not surprise me one bit if SVG is battling inside the top 15, top 10 by the end of this thing.
And with McDowell right there, I wonder if he doesn't quite catch the ownership he probably should. especially given his like people's expectation of him as a
Yeah.
as a road course guy. So I think that's actually a really, really good shout.
I think McDowell is going to be way better than that 37th because he got
for sure.
swirly on his qualifying
For
lap.
sure, yeah, and he kind of just gifted. And shouts to him. That tide ride is beautiful. Ricky Rudd would be so proud.
It is
of
pretty
him.
sweet, yeah.
Zane probably no. Jones probably no. Dylan probably no.
I mean,
It's not really worth going to those.
I would just rather pay down and play McDowell and SVG, I guess.
Gregson, Nemechek, Gilliland, Dinger, Stenhouse, Haley, Custer, Dylan, Herbst, Ware, Mears, Yaley. Anyone below 6K that you have any interested?
Not particularly. I mean, Justin Haley, last go in this ride. AJ Allmendinger basically said he's just looking forward to the end of the season. He just wants this race to get over with. The rest of these guys, like, they're in subpar equipment, I'll say. This seems like a week where you got to try to squeeze in some of the 6K and 7K guys and really try to cherry pick one or two of the elite drivers.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I guess let's build lineups and see how we have to do it, because I do think it's interesting in terms of the guys at the top are so compelling, especially if you want to do Briscoe and Bell and Elliott or Ruddick or Chastain even. And if you want to mix in a Hamlin or a Larson or a Byron, or even a Blaney, you're going to have to spend down. So it'll be interesting to see how gross we actually have to get. I guess let's start here. Do you want to start with Blaney? Do you want to start with Byron? Do you want to start with Bell and someone else? What do you want to do?
I'll let you begin the first lineup.
Okay, I'm going to pick William Byron.
Okay. Let's see where we can go from here, but let's pick the guy that he battled last year at Martinsville for the final championship 4 race, Christopher Bell.
Okay. I like the sound of that. Feels like a fun place to start. I am going to go down, and I'm not going to take McDowell. I'm going to take SVG. We can take McDowell too and see where that gets us, but I want to kind of feel it out.
All right. I think this is a good spot to go to Ryan Preece. Slightly like mid-tier guy price, but with top 10 potential for sure.
Yeah. The fact that his top 10 numbers come down since we bet it makes me feel a little bit better, but it's like also like I don't know how great I feel about him, but I think it makes sense for sure.
We've seen that at tracks where tires wear. Qualifying position at the end of the day only affects your pit stall selection and really not where you're going to finish.
True. Let's see here.
Which kind of bit Preece in the ass last week for what it's worth. So, I mean, that is a slight worry again this week.
So is Dinger a no-go for you with just kind of like
zero interest in AJ? Just think about this from two angles, and they both sound terribly. Not only did he say that he's basically looking forward to the end of the season, but we're talking about a colleague team who just announced they're shutting down their Xfinity program. They're transitioning away from Chevrolet, and now they're going to a backup car in the final race of the season.
Yeah, they're grabbing whatever leftover parts they have.
Yeah, like I don't feel great about their performance here on Sunday.
I'm gonna put Bubba in.
Okay.
Do you want to put Buescher?
I think Buescher's a sneaky play because he's great here, and he can just hang around the top 10 all day. And with him starting right there, he's probably not going to garner a ton of attention.
Yeah, I just don't know what his upside is, but
his upside is a race win. I mean, think about this from the same vantage point of a Ryan Blaney or a Josh Berry, for instance. Being a Ford, they don't have to worry about letting a teammate go or racing somebody clean. Obviously they're gonna be a little bit nicer around the championship 4 guys if they're not as quick. But if push comes to shove and the 17 has race winning speed, you bet your ass they're gonna go out there and try to win the race.
So do you want to do Bubba and Busher, or do you want to do McDriver and Chase Elliott, or Tyler Reddick, or Ross Chastain? Yeah,
I think Bubba and Busher is fine because we already have plenty of placement with Christopher Bell, who.
Yep, I think the ultimate goal is that Byron dominates most of this race. Bell gets up there. Busher is a top 5 car, and then Bubba comes. Priest is there, and then SVG is like a top 20-ish car.
I was just gonna say if SVG even gets to 20th.
Yeah, that feels good. All right, save that one. And we will do another one.
This is the Ryan Blaney start for sure.
YRB. We'll just do McDowell on this one.
All right. We're throwing it back to 2023. Ross Chastain.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot.
How fun would that be if we get a Blaney Chastain battle for the race win?
Yeah. And
both as non-championship.
Then he finishes like 4th or 5th and wins the championship.
Yeah, that would be great.
If we're gonna do this route, should we just squeeze Bell in since he's probably gonna be really popular and really good?
Sure. Let's try to make it work.
Because I'm gonna push Briscoe into one of these lineups, but I want to do it where we get a little more jockey elsewhere.
All right. So if we do Bell, we're
how gross do we have any desire to Cole Custer it up? Because
is that gross enough though?
I think it's gross enough. 5,100. That gets
Sure.
us all the way up to 8,900, and we can do, and then maybe we can figure out where how gross you want to get. But
dude, I actually don't hate playing Barry there.
Okay. So we could do Stenhouse, Haley, Custer, Dillon, Herbst, Ware, Mears, or Yaley.
I would rather play Custer.
Custer, okay,
Yeah.
I like it. Certainly interesting.
That lineup is disgusting, but it could be great.
That's either winning the tournament or getting last place. There's no in between, which is what I'm looking for when I'm building tournament lineups.
Okay. Denny? This is going to put us in a tough spot, but Denny Hamlin.
I mean, if we really want to make it gross, we could buy low on Toyotas.
Oh, but if we're going to do that, we just play Bubba again because then you save the salary. I mean, you could just put Ty Dillon and Cole Custer in there and call it a day, and then
play Riley Herbst.
No, I'm through with the 35.
Let's see. I'm looking at salary. Who's actually Any interest in John Hunter, the Gilly Gang, Justin Haley? I mean,
I'd probably rather play Gilliland.
Let's see. That gets us to 5,600. Then we still have to do like Dinger.
Look,
or we can.
I was just gonna say I would let you take the wheel and put Dinger in if you wanted to, but I
Okay.
just feel like he's gonna be super chalky.
Would you rather go Bell and Dinger, or would you rather go Bubba and
Oh,
I don't really want to put Busher in 2 lineups. I don't like him that much.
If we want to go Toyotas, we can go out swinging. Ty Gibbs. I hate him from a DFS perspective, but
I actually don't hate it. And
yeah.
then we can take
And then you can improve on either Gilliland or McDowell here.
yeah. Oh, so Eric Jones.
I mean, Jones was strong here. I think that was 2 springs ago when Toyota was.
Yeah, the
elite.
other thing we can do is I know Riley Herbst is a disaster. I mean, we could go wherever. We could go with a cheap guy. Let's just say Custer for financial sake. But that gets us all the way up to Elliott or
Then you can play Reddick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I think that goes back to the upside between Reddick and Bubba is so similar. I would rather play Wallace, save the salary, and improve upon Custer.
Yeah, but what's the improvement? Because like we could play Bubba here, and then we take
and then get rid of
Custer out,
Carson.
and then we play Carson Hostovar, Austin Dillon.
I mean,
Zing,
full stop. Austin Dillon versus Cole Custer. Who would you rather play?
at Phoenix.
We know that Austin Dillon is good at least one track that has
Can Austin Dillon run his race at Richmond instead of Phoenix?
eerily similar to this one. Yeah, exactly, at Richmond. So, I mean, that or even Zane Smith, for instance, a guy who has shown plenty of speed. It's just whether or not putting the races together. Or shit, we go back to SVG. Would you rather play SVG or Cole Custer?
Probably SVG, but it's not like.
I think a big factor between those two as well would be like pit crew. I would take SVG's pit crew over Custer's.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we keep getting boxed into similar outcomes.
That's just the way that it is this week, though. It's like
what?
2 top guys, and then you're screwed.
We're playing one of Ty Gibbs and Ty Reddick. You can make the call.
Oh my gosh.
And if you don't want to make the call, I'll make the call and you can make the next pick.
You make the call.
We're playing Tyler Reddick.
All right, then we're playing Bubba Wallace.
Can we do that? No, we can't do that.
Oh man.
I mean, we can.
Take out McDowell. Take out McDowell.
I mean, if we really want to get gross, but then we have to play like.
Then you play Cole Custer.
Custer and Haley.
Sure.
If we're gonna play Briscoe, I don't know that we have to get that gross.
All right, then take out Bubba and let's play McDowell. I think that's fair.
I mean,
and then let's get rid of.
And we can save $300 and play Christopher Bell, who's probably a better play. And then we have 2,000 to upgrade Haley's spot to.
Yeah, but the whole point of this lineup was you wanted to have some Briscoe exposure.
It's fair. It's true.
And we've already played Bell twice. Look,
that's fair.
We'll go on like Christopher Bell is probably my favorite play from a DFS standpoint. So
you can play Ryan Priest, Custer, McDowell, Reddick, Hamlin, Briscoe.
This lineup would receive the Scorsese Absolute Cinema gift.
Yeah. Man, we built some barf rockets, but man, it's gonna be fun to see how they stack up on Sunday.
Projectile vomit lineups.
Yeah, I'll see how our vomit projects on Sunday. That's what I'm gonna figure out.
And it's gonna be super hot too, so it would be one of those type of days.
God, nothing worse than hot, stinky barf. Like this isn't what people want. This is what
Man,
happens
we're
when
off
you
the
record
rails.
late. It's almost midnight there. You're gonna be getting up early to go to the track. I bet
Yeah.
Blaney at 7. I got Priest top 10 at 4. I did Briscoe over Larson. That's probably cooked. We'll see. Larson loves to correct himself, but I could probably get a better number. And Busher over KFB minus 125.
Oh yeah, that feels great.
Blaney, Bell, Barry, Priest top 10, and Chastain over Logs, which feels really good.
Oh yeah, I really like that. When I saw that, that was like an immediate ad for me.
All right. Championship odds. Dennis 170, Byron 205, Larson 220, Briscoe 5. Do you have any interest in betting any of these guys with them not winning the race? Obviously, shopping around, you might be able to find better numbers, depending on who you're looking for. But I guess what's your kind of main takeaway with this, with these prices?
Well, I think you have to try to examine removing the championship situation from the race. Which of these guys would be considered a potential race winner in a standard race weekend? And I don't think right now somebody like Chase Briscoe, for instance, is. So obviously, I would lean towards his championship price as opposed to him winning the race. Whereas the guy like William Byron, he's looked pretty good, and you can get like double this right now. Like obviously he's got to beat Ryan Blaney, he's got to beat Christopher Bell, the other Fords that I think will be kind of, mixing it up there. But I almost think getting those numbers now are better. Because 2-1, like I don't know, those numbers like that are just not appealing. And Denny at plus 170.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. The one thing I will say is, if you told me of the driver who wins the race or who wins the championship doesn't win the race, I'd say there's two guys that make sense for that. I think it's Hamlin. I think it's Byron. And so they're obviously priced that way. So let's flip over and look at the race odds and talk through it. Hamlin 3-1, Byron 350, Larson 350, Blaney 450, Bell 7, Briscoe 10. Do you feel better about any of those? Because I sure don't. Yeah,
it's something I've kind of been saying all week. I was kind of avoiding the championship 4 guys just because their numbers are so inflated. It's hard to want to play any of these things. And, if you have live betting options available to you, just wait until we see how the first couple of stages transpire and you get a good idea about who's strong, who is kind of behind the 8 ball, and then you can kind of play it from there. And if there are guys who are better than the championship 4 guys and are racing for a win, you're probably still going to get a pretty inflated price on them because the books still have such a, strong hold on the championship guys. They have to keep the numbers low.
Yeah, I can get you 410 on Byron on FanDuel, and I can get you 12 on Briscoe on MGM and a couple other places. Both those don't feel. So let's talk through.
Okay, just for instance, when's the last time we've seen a race at an oval with 4 guys at 5-1 or shorter to win? Never?
No, I feel it. Well,
we've seen inside double digits.
Yeah, maybe it was like 8 or 9 guys inside like 8-1, but nothing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have to go back. That's a good question.
But they were like 6 or 7, not 3 and 4.
So I guess let's do this then. Elliott, Chastain, Reddick, Barry, Cindric, Hocevar, Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Bubba Wallace. Like, who's the non-playoff driver that is tickling your fancy at numbers that are actually kind of interesting?
Realistically, for me, there's really only 2 because they're a little bit longer than I think what they should be, and they're both Fords, Josh Berry and Chris Buescher. At the moment, I don't hate nibbling on their prices. I know I saw Buescher just right here. He was like 65-1, and then Berry's like 40 or 45 still in a couple of places. So I don't hate those, but beyond them, I think the numbers are a little bit too short. Like Chastain at 28. Now, if he starts moving forward and he's able to pass cars, yeah, I think you might be able to grab a little bit of him. But prior to us going green,
there's a couple 30s on Chastain. Is that what do you need a 4?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean, Chastain opened at 30, and he looked really good in practice. Yeah. Qualified at a decent position, and he's still reopened right around the same number. I mean,
what about Christopher Bell at 12?
No, that's a number I don't hate. I played Bell at 9.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna add 12. I think I'm with you on Ross. I think 33, 35, I start to get interested. Yeah. I think 40 is definitely a fire. I don't know, man. If you're telling me a non-playoff driver wins, I think the names that come to mind are Blaney, obviously, Bell, and Chastain. I don't even think I can include Reddick. I don't think I can include the RFK.
Reddick hasn't even won a freaking race this year. Like,
it would be very fitting for this to be the one he wins, though.
Oh man, I would be kind of irritated, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm simpatico with you there. He owes us a lot for this year.
Let's not disclose the actual amounts.
Yeah, we're good there. If not, like,
I was just gonna say, let me just add this last tidbit. So I briefly spoke with Josh Berry about this exact scenario, like especially with Ford's not having a representative for the championship. He said and kind of alluded to the fact that they do drive a little bit differently around the championship for guys, but in the situation that they do have a race winning car, they're going to race it out like any other race. So, I think you got to play that in. And the fact that when you have a guy like Barry who's competed for championships at the lower divisions, it really got me thinking about the younger guys who maybe haven't really competed at that level before. And I think like somebody like Carson Hocevar, for instance, who, he was battling for a championship, but he's never won one. And he's not one to shy away from being bold to win a race.
No, he just has to make it to stage 3 in order to have a chance.
Well, and when we talk about Ross Chastain winning in 2023, I think Carson Hocevar, for the most part, we've seen it, is kind of Ross Chastain light.
Yeah.
As a younger guy in the Cup Series who hasn't really learned the ropes in terms of like racing everybody cleanly, Yeah. And if somebody is going to go up there and say, screw this, I don't give a crap that these guys are in the championship, like I'm going to go take this, somebody like Carson definitely fits that bill.
He's definitely got the speed. I'm pulling up manufacturers because obviously our friends the Caesars don't have it, but 365 has it. For Ford, Blaney's obviously a huge favorite, but then it's Logano at 350, it's Barry at 9, it's Cindric at 11, Buescher at 18, Preece at 20. Do you have any interest in Barry, Buescher, Preece? Okay. I thought
personally, I bet all 3 of those guys to be top Ford at nibbles. But
right, yeah. And obviously, when you're talking about Blaney and how good he can be, it's a dangerous proposition to.
But if he has a problem,
or if he's just like,
yep,
screw this, I'm not going to embrace him for a championship.
Blaney has what, 7 DNFs this year?
Mm-hmm. He can have issues on pit road. He can have all kinds of problems. Toyota, Denny's the big favorite. Then it's Briscoe 420, Bell at 250, Reddick at 14, Bubba at 22, Gibbs at 30. Do you have any interest in Bubba or Gibbs or anybody not named Dennis? I guess Bell would be interesting, but he's plus 250, so you can't bet that.
I think to the Toyota market this week, whether you're looking at outright top 3, top 5, top 10, top Toyota, is really hard from a sentimental point of view to want to bet anybody or back anybody but Denny, which in betting is not always it's never the path to
Take
winning.
out of it. I really want to
But
be a Denny fan, especially because he's gone all in on the Ohio State Buckeyes, and
oh my
I
God.
really want that to come to fruition for him. But
Yeah, I do think that there's some slight value on Christopher Bell. Despite him not being in the championship, I still expect him to be racing at the front near the end. I mean, this guy was the best car here. I think it was last fall when he wound up finishing 4th or 5th. He led the most laps.
yeah.
And he wasn't in the championship race either.
And in terms of Chevy, obviously Byron Larson are your favorites, but then we have Elliott at 7, Chastain at 13, Busch and Bowman at 25, Hocevar at 18. Any interest in any of those, or is it really hard just because Byron's so rock solid and Larson could dust the field?
Yeah, I think when you have the combination of Larson's ability to absolutely crop dust the field, and then and Byron just being such a solid performer where you can expect him to just run up there all day, it's really hard to, with that combination, it's really hard to think that there's going to be another Chevy that finishes ahead of one of those two guys.
Yep. Obviously, we were it's late here out here on the West Coast, but there's still not a ton of odds. So, anybody else you're looking to get exposure to, or you want to access somehow, but you can't really figure out how you're going to do it?
Man, I mean, early in the week, I was trying to cherry pick long top 10 numbers, which kind of remain the same.
Yeah.
Post practice, with the championship 4 guys receiving all the attention and eating all the holds. So I think there is a lot of value still at the sports books. As we look at this, I mean, as you said, it's 11 o'clock here in the Pacific Mountain time zone as we're recording this. And despite there not being a lot of markets, there's still a ton of value out there. There's not anything that I'm sprinting to the window to want to play, though. So
our
probably
friends
one of
over
those
at FanDuel can give us some nice options. You can get a Bubba top 10 at 3-1, which I don't hate. You can get Priest at 390. You can get Ty Gibbs at 4. You can get Daniel Suarez at 9. You can get McDowell at 11.
McDowell's in a rough spot, though, with him starting last.
Yeah,
his only saving grace is the fact that stage 1 is only 60 laps.
Yeah. So,
I believe it's 60 laps.
All right, Brian. It's been a season. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had our fun. I have Blaney and Bell on the outright card. I have Priest, I have Briscoe over Larson and Busch over KFB. You have Blaney, Bell, Barry, Priest, and then Chastain and Logano. We'll see if we add much to the card.
Yeah.
We'll try and add a few more between now and obviously our newsletter, aoppodcast.substack.com, aoppodcast.substack.com. Those are going up when you're watching this, so make sure you go check that out for the full betting card, for all of our thoughts. We'll have some grid rival picks of all kinds of different things on there. Brian Twining, I asked you on Tuesday. I'm going to ask you again. When the race ends, who's standing in victory lane?
Are we talking about winning the race or championship or both?
Could be the same person. It could be different.
I still think, in my heart of hearts, Ryan Blaney's going to win this damn race. Of course, the year that he's not in the championship.
Okay.
And finishing as the highest championship driver, I'm going to stick with it. It's going to be Denny Hamlin. I just think that team and him in general is just so focused to win this thing that there's like nothing that's going to prevent the 11 from finally getting his moment in the sun.
Yeah. I've flop flipped so many times in my head. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say.
Before you answer, let me just point out, if this is the last year of the one race championship, I want everybody to remember how it felt going into this particular championship with the storylines we had behind Denny Hamlin, William Byron, the third time he's here searching for a championship, Larson looking for his second, and the upstart Chase Briscoe first year with JGR, surprising everybody and going for a title in his first year in elite equipment, because we're never going to get this feeling again when this format is gone.
Yeah, and I mean, even with the 16 drivers that we started the playoffs with, we had arguably the best field we've ever had.
Yeah.
The field kept paring down, and we kept having elite drivers with tough decisions to make on who's going to make it through. So I think the winner, man, it sucks because the two names on the betting card, but are that I put on there are Blaney and Bell. But I think the race winner and the champion are the same person. In my heart, I want to say the 24. In my head, I think Kyle Larson wins the championship.
Whoa! Yeah. Holy crap!
Yeah, I did not expect to get to there when when the season started. Definitely when the playoffs started. But it just like
how awesome is it that we get this moment in the sport where I don't think there's a single person who can 100% say, "Oh yeah, this guy's winning."
No, I think this year is the most tumultuous version we've had.
We talked about it. As soon as the final four was set, we talked about how wide open this year's championship is. And people can talk crap about the format all they want. Like, obviously the best guy may not win, but who was the best driver this year?
I mean, you could argue it was Ryan Blaney. You could argue it was Christopher Bell. You could argue it was William Byron who won the championship.
Everybody had their spurts and their streaks and their downs and their ups and their lows. And to me, maybe 2025 was the only year that this occurred. But I think this format actually gave us the most legitimate champion that we've had. I mean,
it definitely gave us the most compelling.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to suck if one of these. It's going to really suck if one of these guys has a mechanical failure, or like if Denny's clutch goes out. Like, that's going to royally suck, and it's going to spoil it for some. But that's part of this sport.
With the 2311 and NASCAR stuff, it would be very, very cool to see Denny get the trophy. It would be very, very cool to see Chase Briscoe get it with his upstart. Obviously, Byron, third time's the charm. And Kyle Larson, who's trying to cement himself as potentially the best NASCAR driver ever, winning another championship is going to be a really big step into doing that and putting his name with Jimmy and Dale and all those guys. But yeah, I think the 5 wins, and I think the 5, like, it might be kind of a lame race, to be honest. Like, it.
So you think Larson's going to go out there? And
I think if Larson wins, he's going to dump truck the field and lead 250 laps.
I was just going to say the race is only 312 laps.
Exactly, 250, 275, something like that.
I mean, that is certainly possible.
That's how Larson wins. If he's not in the front and he's running into shit and he's having issues, and Carson Hocevar's next to him, he's going to finish 23rd or 33rd. Like, he has the widest range of outcomes for sure. And every year it feels like there's one car that, but in stage 1 is just donezo. Like Chris Bell, 2 years ago, what he did, like 10 laps in maybe, and he was done.
He had like a brake failure or
Tyler
something.
Reddick
I don't remember what
having
it was.
issues. Like, everybody, was usually one guy who's just like cooked. But that's the thing, is even with this field, like, Byron needs to stay up front in order to win, but you've seen him make moves and do what he needs to do. Denny's a killer. He'll go out and win the race. Kyle Larson could dump truck the field. And Chase Briscoe, even in races where you thought he had no chance and he was going to finish 33rd, all of a sudden is a contender and running near the front. Like, we have an amazing group of four. And I'm very, very excited to see it all play out. And this will be big screen and football kind of over there.
Yeah, this I will say I am obviously it's cool to be here at the race, but I think in general, just for the championship and especially this one, it's nice to not have the distraction, which not a lot of people are going to say this, of the NFL to take away from absorbing everything that we're going to experience tomorrow for the race or today as you're watching this.
Very, very excited. All right, Brian Twining, hell of a season. Tons of fun doing this each and every week with you. We will be back next week, or I guess in like 2 days, to recap it all, talk through it. We'll talk all the stuff, Leapsfrog. Get in touch with Brian and I on Twitter. Drop a comment with your email, something. Because if you win the Grid Rival Challenge, you will get paid out. So I want to make sure that happens.
And don't forget, it's the last week to play NASCAR Grid Rival.
Mm-hmm. Get your pick'ems in. We'll
AOP 25.
We'll have $100, 100% match deposit up to $100. So make sure you get those deposits in and make some picks. We'll have our favorite options in the newsletter, but feel free to fade us. Feel free to follow us. Brian Twining, live from Phoenix. Kyle Robert. Enjoy the hell out of the race. Hopefully we get a phenomenal race, a compelling race, and a pass for the lead at the end, and a very deserving champion. So with that being said, we'll talk to you next time.